Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel if you are a returning watcher, and welcome if you are a first timer. Yes, you are seeing correctly. No, your eyes are not deceiving you. And yes, I'm not making a hair tutorial. As many of us, or few of us might know, I'm an educator and I'm very passionate about education, and there are lots of things I know I'd like to share, also learn from others that know, and also a lot of important conversations concerning education around in Nigeria that I feel like we need to have, especially the one that we are having today. I really would have loved if my colleagues were here with me. Two of them I wanted to have on this particular segment. They are both psychologists. One a psychology teacher and the other one a mental well-being lead at an international school. And this, as you may know from the title or thumbnail or the snippet of this video that you may have seen on any social media platform, you probably know what I'm about to talk about today, and it would have just been great to have some other voices here with me. As an educator, we have talked about it we have talked about it so much, but I didn't think it was the right time to do a video. First of all, because I don't want to I don't know what the word to use an unfortunate thing that has happened to a person to promote a video. Definitely didn't want to do that. Another thing is, I have been trained not to speak of an issue when it's trending or everybody's talking about it, because emotions were actually very high, and I understand that emotions would be high for everyone, but especially for educators, because it should really hit close to home. It really hit close to home for me, for my colleagues, and I expect that for a lot of educators, it should really hit close to home, where you ask yourself questions like, could this have happened under my watch? Could this have happened in my school, in my care? And really honestly answer those questions. Without further ado, we're going to be jumping right into the subject. I know a lot of us are familiar with it, and I'm not going to mention anybody's name in particular, because I like to pay respect to the family, to the victim, and not to essentially, this video is not even just about that particular case, but that case is a prototype case for us to examine the Nigerian school, the average Nigerian school. This is even a private school we're talking about, not even a government school. Do you understand? So you know that they're paying well. So we are really going to critique what should be in place if you are receiving students into your institution. Some things should be in place. Let's start from the whole story. I'm not going to make reference to whatever information was delivered by blogs or what was trending in the media. You have to be very careful with that. But of course, I'm going to make reference to the statements from the victim, from the family, from the school, from the police department. Is it police department called them in Nigeria? Police. Nigeria police. So let's walk through. Some of us are not very fast, so let's walk through from the very beginning. There's a student in the boarding house who is being bullied. Now, bullying is not they gave me blow in my eye or physical. It doesn't have to be physical. Let's understand the meaning of bullying. If you make a person feel powerless, you are bullying that person. If you make a person feel threatened, whether there was physical contact or not, to make a person feel ostracized. I'm telling you things that I learned professionally on the job, not what dictionary told me the meaning of bullying. I learned that to make a person feel ostracized is also to bully a person. So to say, oh, we have this clique, you are not allowed in this clique, we don't want you as a part of this clique, is also a form of bullying. Now you might say that, what is the child, that why can't the child also say, I don't care, I also don't want to be part of your clique? Not every child has that resilience level to not care of what other people do to them. So how children react to bullying is different based on their resilience. Now, resilience is built, let me just say, the lower amount of adverse childhood experiences a child experiences okay, the lower the amount of adverse childhood experiences a child has, the higher their resilience. So for example, a child is coming from a home where there is so much validation. Oh, you are the best, Johnny, you are an amazing child, you are doing great, mommy loves you, daddy loves you, we're rooting for you. The higher that child's resilience than a child who is coming from a home where everybody is angry and he's probably the recipient of the transferred aggression from the parents. You, this boy, you are not intelligent, nothing good can ever come out of you, or just those kind of things, or that kind of environment. Now, those two children facing the same type of bullying will not react the same way, because one child has more resilience than the other child. It is possible for that child who is used to being or seeking validation from people that are important to him to now try to go the extra mile to seek validation from those people that are bullying him, because his resilience is lower and because he has been experiencing that in other areas of his life. Please make no mistake, I am not referring to this particular case. I'm not saying that this was the case in this particular case. I'm just enlightening you that children react different ways. So don't say, if it was me, I would do this. That is if it was who? You, not this particular child. So you don't know how each child will respond to bullying. That being said, we had this child that was being bullied. Regardless of what it was, let's take away the little details of the story, whether it was over pictures, over his sister, over whatever it was. Bullying happens for different reasons. We don't need to give when I was in school, if a senior walks in and the senior is hungry and they need provision, your locker is going to become their ShopRite. It doesn't matter if it's your last food, it's going to become their ShopRite. So you really can't, whatever reason it is right now is inconsequential. We just know that bullying was happening. The first place I'm going to fall to the school was in that who has oversight over that situation? Who was supposed to be over that environment when something like that was happening? Who is that person? Who is that safe space in that environment where a child can go to and report a situation like that, and that child can be promised confidentiality, and that child will know that something is being done about that? See, the thing about it is, you can't live, even government does not trust its citizens. That's why we have the law, that's why we have the police, that's why we have prisons. You can say, oh, we trust them to do right. Much more children. No, children are trained and taught to be a certain way. Never assume that children will know the right thing to do. In fact, as a school, it's better for you to assume that children are destructive and put, while teaching them to not be destructive, just assume that they are destructive and put every measure in place for them not to destroy themselves and destroy your school. So who was actually over that environment? Who was the person that that boy could have gone to tell during the time that this thing was building up, and could have done something about that, and could have promised the boy, confidentiality, and say, okay, do you have an open door policy in your school where you can come and tell us anything, that is going on, and we're not going to go on the assembly and announce that, oh, this person said this, but we're going to keep an eye on that situation and actually monitor and see what exactly is happening there. I'm going to fall to school, first of all, for that. After the whole thing happened, and whatever happened, of which we don't even have a clear story of what exactly. Unfortunately, the victim wasn't able to give us a full story and say, what exactly killed this boy. Of course, we know it allegedly. I have to say allegedly now. How this space is. So we know allegedly it was something done by those people that were bullying this child, that and don't trivialize it, because apparently somebody has lost his life because of it, so it had to be something at least serious. So when this thing was done, and this is something that happened even in the school that I attended, unfortunately, when a child gets badly hurt or injured in your custody, of course there's a shame of wanting to cover it up and do the most that you can without alerting the parents so that you don't get into trouble. But see, when a life is at stake, if a child has gotten badly hurt or injured in your custody, accept it. Accept your fault, it has happened. This is not a time to try to cover it up or try to patch the situation so that parents don't fight. Alert the parents immediately so that the child can receive urgent care as fast as you can. This is not a time to say let's quickly cover it up so that parents don't know that this thing has happened. It has happened in your custody. It has happened. Now is not a time to try to cover it up and try to do whatever it is that you think that you are doing so that the parents will not find out. So long as a child has been hurt or badly injured in your custody, it's your responsibility as a school to get the child the maximum care they can get at that point. Alert their parents. Don't hide it, don't cover up. So that is where I'm going to fault this school. Where are your, I'm not just going to do a video criticizing, schools and everything. Of course, I'm going to give my own personal advice, what I think. Where are the eyes that are over? You need eyes everywhere when you're in school. I was telling a friend of mine, fortunately for me, the last 2 places I have worked, there are CCTV cameras. And a friend of mine was saying that because they are private schools and everything, okay, or because they are rich schools, the school I worked in, my previous place of employment, they didn't have a very big budget, but they had a CCTV camera. That thing cost like 30K or so. So long as you have children everywhere, you need eyes everywhere. If you don't want, or you don't have the manpower to run the IT of keeping the footage, running the CCTV or extracting the footage, if you don't want to do that, that's fine. Then have eyes everywhere. Don't be short-staffed. You can't have one matron, one housemaster, one house mistress for 50 students. 10 students per room, 5 rooms, 1 staff member. And then you put prefects, put seniors in charge. You're not paying seniors to take care of the junior students. Staff members are supposed to do that. Where is the person that is supposed to have oversight over every single time, every single place where the children are? Prep time, staff must be there. Dining time, staff must be there. Under the staircase, eyes must be there. In the corridors, eyes must be there. Every corner, eyes must be there. So long as you have students there must be supervision. Number 1. Then number 2, train your staff members. Like I said at the beginning of, did I say at the beginning of this video, I was telling my colleagues that the fact that this did not happen in our own schools was not because our schools did the best that they could. Of course, a lot of schools tried, but a lot of schools were equally negligent, and it was just the grace of God that kept us and ensured that these things did not happen. So don't wait for the wheel of misfortune to point its finger at your school. Get the training that you need. Everyone that is interfacing with a child must be trained in duty of care. There are free safeguarding courses, child protection courses available online. Get training for your staff. Every member of staff should be trained. 3, I wanted to diversify into another story, but I will not go there. I will just give you like an idea. There's also the crazy case of students being abused by staff members. It doesn't happen all the time, but the few times it happens should never happen. A school should be a safe space. It should never happen. So we're going to talk about, or that's going to be my number 3 thing, safe recruitment. There is almost no more sacred place to work like working with children, like working in a school. You can't hire anybody. I know in Nigeria we cannot find people's criminal record, but as a recruiter for a school, do your due diligence and do as much background check that you can do on a staff member. Have an open door policy. Make sure your guidance counselor is trained, not like the one we had when we were in secondary school that told us if we say hello to those people in boys' school that will get pregnant. Please make sure your counselor is trained and let he or she, him or her, have an open door policy where students can walk in and share their concerns about even staff members. If a lot of students are complaining about a particular staff member, open your ear and hear. Of course, be objective, but don't silence them. Allow them to freely speak and protect their interests by giving them the confidentiality that you can afford. according to the degree of that case. That is also something that you can learn, when you take your safeguarding courses, when to promise confidentiality, when to tell a child that you can't promise them confidentiality because it's a very serious issue. So make sure you are recruiting safely, very safely. I'll start again. Number 1, make sure you have eyes everywhere. Number 2, make sure your staff are trained. Number 3, make sure you recruit safely. And I hope and pray, with as much as we continue to, gather knowledge to ourselves and make our schools better places, that we will not have cases like this arise again. In my next video, I'm going to be talking about our boarding schools. Seniority, that thing has to be curbed. There are some things in our schools that need to die an eternal death. Seniors asking juniors to put their head on the ground and lift their leg up must die. Seniors raiding juniors' lockers, eating their food and taking what their parents brought for them must die. Seniors being allowed to inflict physical corporal punishment on students must die. This should not happen in our schools. And in my next video, I really would love to, because my friends attended kind of 2 schools, my colleagues actually, people I was talking about. So I really would like to have somebody from a government college actually come and share their experience, because I had some experiences I will also share in my next video. And I will also be giving a shout out / apology to one particular junior in my next video. So be sure to join in. I'd like to hear in the comment section what you think about the ideas that I have shared, and if you have any experiences from your own school too, or you'd like to be in my next video, please let me know in the comment section below. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, share with every educator that you know, and peace and love, everyone. See you next time. Bye. So I go down on my knees and pray. Don't. I do the